Hello agents and welcome back to another Division PTS video. Today I wanted to go over the news and announcements. We had the phase 2 check-in from the guys over at Massive, and basically they checked in with all the feedback that they got from phase 2 and then also commented on changes that they have made for phase 3, and there are some really good ones. But just before we get started, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up and hit the bell so you're notified when I upload more Division videos. Or come on over to Twitch and hit that follow button there. I could be streaming Division live right now. So let's get started. There's a few sections. I'm not going to go into mega detail with some of these. For the Kingbreaker change, I have uploaded a separate video because I did the math on that. And I've done the math again. And that definitely does deserve its own video. So to be sure, I'll put a link in the description. Be sure to check that out as well. So they started off, first of all, I'll throw it up on screen with the gear and balancing section. And they're talking about the Heartbreaker gear set. Now, my own personal thoughts on this were that the 5 seconds was just a little bit too short. I think something between 5 and 10 would have been great. Because especially when you were in a team, it made it just that little bit harder to keep your damage up. And for me, it was just easier to wear glass cannon or a spotter or something instead, where I didn't really have to worry too much about anything else. So anyway, the feedback that they got, multiple sets of feedback. Heartbreaker is too powerful. And they said, right now, we are happy with what it adds to the game and there are no plans to change that anytime soon. We have looked at the conversation on efficiency of the gear set, and so far we are satisfied with where it has landed. So they're definitely not going to be nerfing it. They're happy with the strength of it, which is really nice. But then there was the buff, the Heartbreaker, which I was in that camp. I thought I needed like I just mentioned before, a few extra seconds. But what they've done, they've changed it away from being a little bit like strikers, and they've said the way it was behaving during phase 2. With the stacks disappearing after 5 seconds, instead of starting to diminish similar the way striker gear set behaves was intended. But your feedback convinced us to do things differently. In phase 3, you can expect the following changes. You will lose 2 stacks per second instead of losing all stacks after 5 seconds. This is brilliant news. I think this is an absolute game changer for this gear set. Because you just think, if you're at max stats and you're not using the chest talent, that's 25 seconds of gameplay you're going to get before you've lost all of the buff. Sure, it's going to diminish over that 25 seconds, but if you're shooting things, it's also going to go up and down, giving you a much higher sustainability for the damage. But then if you do use the chest, that's 50 seconds. I think that's going to be really good, and I'm looking forward to trying this change tomorrow when the PTS lands. So then for the Heartbreaker is blue, the defense. It says, we do not see the need to change this at the time, but we'll keep a close eye on the feedback after the TU15 release. While Heartbreaker has a damage buff, this set is also a durability one, and thus armor bonus you get makes more sense with the higher armor value. Hence the blue cause. Now, it did resolve the issue. The mask was a yellow. It looks like it should have been a blue. So they've changed that over now. They all will be blue. But what this doesn't mention is that stack of armor also going to deteriorate 2 stacks every second. I'm guessing it is. But I guess we're going to have to wait for tomorrow. Next up on the gear and balancing section is the Kingbreaker named weapon. I'm actually going to do a much more in-depth video about this because I know people are very excited to see what has happened here. It says it was upgraded from 500 to 650 RPM for PTS Phase 3, and the same's applied for the TKB 408 assault rifle, which I'm guessing is the non-named variant of the Kingbreaker. On the looks of this looks like a good change. It definitely brings it much more closer to the top end assault rifles. But I'll let you check the video out for the stats on it. I'm not so sure if it will overtake a Carbine 7. The Kingbreaker comes with perfect flatline, but obviously we're going to be getting regular flatline as well, so 20% for the perfect and 15% extra damage for the non-perfect. And I still think that the Carbine is going to come out on top, but like I said, there is a video, all the maths, everything you need to see. We even compare it to the FAMAS as well and a bunch of other different guns, so please go and check that out. But definitely a needed buff. It was definitely too middle of the road and wasn't good enough. They changed the attachments to LMG attachments now for the named weapon, the Dirt. All good for that one. The blue screen exotic weapon, it's resolved some more issues. It doesn't have the exclusive skin that it should have had. It does now. The disruptor rounds talent of the exotic weapon blue screen cannot be triggered, and they've fixed that as well. The Dread Edict, this one was one I was hoping they were going to make some serious changes to, but unfortunately all they've done is make focus work. All I can hope is that makes this really, really good, but I still feel like it's going to be way too unstable to use. But fingers crossed, we will see soon. And then the Catharis exotic mask. The feedback they got was, it feels strong, please don't nerf it. And the comments are really good comments. We are happy to see that you're excited about it, and right now they have no plans to make any changes. Moving on to the countdown section. It says here, as mentioned earlier, our goal for Countdown was to make it challenging but not impossible to beat, for 8 match-made players of mixed build qualities. It would also add an additional challenge for players with more organised groups and better builds to try and complete it with less than 8 players. You can read more about the PTS Phase 1 findings, and then they've linked it. So the first section they want to comment on is the Countdown difficulty adjustment. Right now we are happy with the most difficulty, and for Phase 2 echoes our sentiment. There are no plans to change general difficulty for the remaining PTS phase, as well as the TU15 candidate master build. So the countdown that we've had in the previous one is the countdown we're going to get when TU15 drops. Once again, we thank you for all the opinions shared with us on forums and social media channels. These changes are a direct result of your proactivity and dedication. Of course, we'll keep on monitoring countdown feedback once TU15 is out and more players can get their hands on the mode. And just a quick reminder, the possibility of adding other difficulty options is under investigation, and you can expect to hear more from us after the TU15 release. That's the point I'm really glad that they put in here, that this isn't really going to be the final version of Countdown. They're still open to adding and changing things, and I think that's what's really important there. They had some matchmaking issues. There's no point reading that out. They've tried to fix them, and some of it was to blame because there was a lower population of players, and then some matchmaking issues as well. Looking like that's all resolved. Moving on to the expertise section, some good news here. PTS Phase 1 feedback from the expertise changes and some other points they took from Phase 2. The upgrade costs are too high, and I think that's been the most constantly commented one I've seen across all kinds of social media. So they've put here, we have heard the concerns about the cost being too high, especially for those of you who tend to have shorter play sessions. And we agree that every playstyle should be taken into account and rewarded appropriately for the time spent in the game. After careful consideration, we have decided to settle on lowering the cost of the field recon data, SHD calibration and exotic materials by half from level 11 up to 20. From levels 1 to 10 and 21 plus, which is very interesting because we all thought 20 was the max level, will remain unchanged. We believe these changes would suit a wider range of Division 2 players. On top of the reduction mentioned above, we have reduced the material requirements for all ranks of gear pieces by another half. Now, gear pieces will require 2 times less materials for upgrades to make it more consistent with the number of materials needed for weapon and skill upgrades. So some reductions across the board there. Fairly fair, I think. Still a really good grind, but then also helping out players who don't play quite as much as some of us. Expertise armor bonuses should be increased. We hear you, but we do not want to react too fast to increasing armor even further. Could have very big consequences. We would like players to have more time with the feature after TU15's release, after which we will actively be looking at feedback on armor bonuses. Now, in phase 1, those armor bonuses went off your actual complete armor bonus. In phase 2, they fixed it, and it actually upgraded the percent of armor that piece actually had. I preferred it the first way around. I think you got a lot more bang for your buck, so hopefully that will make a return. And as well, they fixed the donate all buttons that were basically donating absolutely everything and basically nuking all of your builds. Moving on to the other section, other phase 2 observations they wanted to highlight. The floaty heads have been fixed in the character select menu. They're keeping the shield changes for PvP and for PvE. I think they got a lot of feedback saying why change for PvE. But I think they're trying to change up the meta a little bit in both PvP and PvE. So the shield changes are staying for all. When you get destroyed, you do get disrupted still. And unfortunately, there's still no console PTS. That's going to be everything. Just wanted to go over these patch notes, give you my thoughts. Some good changes in there. Can't wait to play the PTS tomorrow and see if they actually are as good as what they feel. Thank you for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe or come over to Twitch. And I'll see you in the next one. Or check out the Kingbreaker video. I'll give you all the stats. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.